First Watch on 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and Sheriff Mark Daniels. Good morning.
Good morning, Cochise County.
Hello, everyone.
So another busy week at the Sheriff's Department, and this week we're going into Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend, boy, it's amazing. It seems like we just had Memorial Day weekend. It's like, where'd the summer go? I mean, and where'd the rain go to? I got to say that. But we had a little rain, so it was good, about half an inch last weekend. But, yeah, it's amazing where our summer went.
And so we're keeping on top of everything, and we're going to have some guests later on talking about the DUI task force, specifically for Labor Day.
That's right.
And just getting confused with these holidays that pop up out of nowhere.
Well, I think with the challenges and the busyness of everything going on in 2020, it's kind of taken our days away. It really has. And you look at where summer, I just thought this is, last night, this morning before I came on the show here, is like, wow, it's like summer is gone. I mean, I remember when Memorial Day hit, it's like, wow, thinking about Labor Day, I think that's a long ways away. Well, we're here. We're truly here. And I think every safety message we've talked about over the last several months comes into play this weekend when it comes to fire safety, when it comes to patience in driving legally and slow down, and all that comes into play this weekend. No drinking and driving. We're going to have a guest talk about that today. So just a lot going on this weekend, too.
Now, as sheriff, you are all over the place in other counties, other states, even in the capital, talking to other law enforcement agencies. And sometimes you find something that's somebody else is doing that you want to use. So tell us about No Place Like Home.
Well, I do. And this is one of the neat things is, having the ability to travel. In fact, I was supposed to be in D.C. next week for the Secretary of Homeland Security being on his advisory council. He's doing his annual speech presentation. So I got invited to be with him on that. Unfortunately, with COVID, I'm not going to fly. I'd rather stay here and follow the guidelines and just be healthy, if that makes sense. And because people don't realize that's a 5-hour flight out there in a tube, and a fly 5 hours back for a couple hour speech, and I respect the invite and being there, but unfortunately with current times I'm not going to go. But you're right on that, Grady, and it's interesting, whether it be touring other jails and see how they've made their jails programs very successful, and seeing what we need to do to ours, to all the way to the innovative and educational programs. And one of them is, and I shared it with our school superintendent Jackie Clay yesterday, it's called Handle with Care. And what it is, there's an awareness video, and Jackie and I are working on seeing what we can do to bring that here, and I'm kind of excited about it. I think Jackie is too. But what it is anytime law enforcement comes in contact with a situation where there's a child involved, or a youth involved, and, all the way from young up to, high school age, that there could be drama or traumatic exposure, what happens is, we alert the schools. It's a program. We alert the school that, hey, this child was involved in this scenario, was exposed to this situation, especially on domestics, death in the family, mom and dad are arrested, whatever it may be. It provides us the opportunity to notify the schools, and then the schools know that they have a child that needs to be handled with care. That's where the slogan comes from. And then between law enforcement working together with our educators, we can help navigate this child through this tough experience. Because what you don't want is to have a child that's gone through a traumatic experience maybe the night before, which seems to be when these things happen, and then the next day, they're having a tough time in school and they get in trouble or something happens. They need to know what's going on in their personal life too. And so it's just a way to protect our young people and keep them focused on what's most important, and that is just being a child. And so we're going to look at that at the school superintendents and myself. Jackie and I talked last night. She's going to be pushing that out, on her end. And but I think it's an innovative, very positive program for our young people.
And a lot of cool things even in this county that we do, other people are interested in, so it kind of goes both ways.
Well, it does. I mean, you look at the COVID, what we did in our jail here for COVID, and that's why our jails have been, so healthy, if you want to call it such. I mean, a lot of other sheriff's offices in the state took advantage of what we did here with our protocol. So, again, we borrow and share different ideas all the time. I think that's a good thing to do. And but in this program, Handle with Care, the state of Kentucky and the state of Virginia already mandate. It's a state mandate. And so, again, I got my hands around this week, sitting on this committee. I'm going, man, that would really work here. I'd love to see the state do it, but heck, we'll do it in Cochise County if we can get it off and pilot it here, and then grow it into the state if other counties want to do it. But again, it's just another innovative way of taking care of our young people in this county.
We might as well kick it off here because that's a good way to connect. And like you were saying, we have the ability to contact our school officials if something happens during the day usually, or if it's a high profile event. But when it comes to individual situations, sometimes we don't have that opportunity. It's nights, weekends, holidays, and by the time somebody gets to their email or whatnot, it's a little bit late, and the child is maybe back in school. So this is really a good way to look forward, be forward-thinking and proactive.
Well, I think it's smart on leaders too. It is smart on us. You know, the schools and law enforcement work hand in hand anyway. So this is just a upfront way of doing something that, again, helps our young people. And if we can help them navigate something that maybe they don't know how to navigate, and when they don't know how to navigate it, that's when problems arise, both personally and unfortunately we get involved too then. So I think it's got a lot of hope, and I think we can bring it forward. And people like Jackie Clay, our school superintendent's got a lot of energy like me. So between her and I think we can push this forward.
And moving forward into getting our kids involved, there's also, if you take a look at our Facebook page, there's a section there that we posted earlier this week about honoring our veterans essay contest. And so it's specifically for high school kids, and it's a way for them to get involved and, you know, use some of their creative thinking. I know that they haven't been in school for a while, so dust off the cobwebs a little bit if they have to. And our best material comes from our kids. You know, it's just amazing what they can come up with their creativity. So we're really encouraging everybody to go to our Facebook page, take a look at that, and get their kids involved and you know, give it a shot.
Well, we're a veteran community. I mean, I think there's, 18% of the people who live in this county are veterans, which is incredible when you look at in communities. Most communities like 2%, 1%, we're at 18%. And a lot of that's obviously credited to Fort Huachuca. But I think it's a great idea, Carol, what you guys are doing there. And anytime we can recognize our vets and embrace our veterans that have served this country, we're doing something, especially when it comes from our young people. That's a true message.
And sticking with our young kids, we had a situation where we were helping Riverside County Sheriff's Office over the past couple days with some missing girls.
Yeah, you know, I got a call about 9:30 at night from a citizen here in Cochise County that had a relationship with these two missing girls, these teenagers. One was 14 and one was 16, and they had some information that they might be trying to cross the border. And what it was these girls met this guy that was portraying to be in his 20s online. He picked them up. Unbeknownst to truly how old this person was, what was going on, and this is the information I was given that you and I, Carol, worked on for the next couple of days, and we did not want them to cross into Mexico. Obviously, for their own safety, for the parents' sake, the family's sake, the family and friends here in Cochise County. So we did. It just true. I contacted the ports. Thanks to them, they notified all the ports on the southbound to start checking for that. I notified the border sheriffs. I mean, we were all over this. We were truly all over this, doing our best to keep these two young girls from going down to Mexico. And again, the first thing I think is, you know, being law enforcement is what's going to happen to these two young girls once they get into the wrong hands in Mexico. And so I want to thank you, Carol. I know you were on the phone that night with the Riverside County Sheriff's Office. You talked to the deputy involved that was doing this. You were all over this, so thank you so much. And good news is they found him yesterday.
That's right. So they're back, and one of the important things is, you're right, the port director, as a new port director, and he is, I'm sorry, his name escapes me.
They got an interim down there right now.
Oh, they do? Okay.
It's an interim, so he's here only temporarily, so...
And he did a great job. And so by the time this whole thing was over, and this is just another show of how we cooperate and work closely with all law enforcement agencies, it's local, state, and federal, they had the ports notified from El Paso all the way to Tijuana in an extremely short amount of time. And even Sheriff Wilmot from Yuma County sent an email back saying, okay, that he had that. So everybody worked together, and especially being a nighttime event, it came together really well, and for the safety and security of the girls, but also for the peace of mind for the family. And I think that was really what's important.
Well, it showed we care. And that's what it's all about, truly. And that's what we do for a living is, you know, we got missing teenagers, unknown of the circumstances in detail, but it doesn't matter. What we need to know is we got to concern folks here in Cochise County that have a relation with these two kids. You know, Riverside's confirmed they were in the system as missing juveniles, so we're going to do everything we can to stop those kids from going into Mexico and locate those kids. And what's nice about it, when I called the sheriff in Yuma around 10 o'clock that night. I mean, he was on the phone with his port. Everybody has those connections inside their respective counties, so it just sped the process up even better as a force multiplier to find these kids. And I'm just glad that they were found safely and they're back home with mom and dad in California.
And Sierra Vista Police Department has a girl listed on their
Yes, I saw
Facebook page
that.
we shared that we're still looking for. I mean, they're still looking for, we're still looking for, law enforcement is looking for. So everybody just take a look at that. If you have information, let us know. Let your law enforcement agency know. You don't have to even give your name. Just make sure that we can get these kids home safe.
It's there's certain populations of society, your young folks, your elderly, and your animals, your pets. I mean, those three populations are really vulnerable, and we obviously take a little extra sensitivity toward those. We have a 14-year-old missing out of the Palominas area right now that we need to find. And so I talked to his dad yesterday. And these are tough situations. They are. And parents get concerned. These kids are on the street somewhere. They're probably hanging out in a house. And the message there is, if you got somebody in your house, you don't know who they are, and they're young, talk to their parents. Truly talk to their parents, because we need to find these kids. And a 14-year-old teenager on the streets running at night is not a good thing.
September is Emergency Preparedness Month. What can we do for that?
So we have the Ready, Set, Go program.
Yes, which came out of the Arizona Sheriff Association.
That's right. And so that was a really good thing to do, because it brought everybody together. It brought the language together. Everybody's using the same protocols, if you will, because before you would have different areas having different verbiage. You would have evacuation, pre-evacuation. Maybe you need to go, maybe you don't. So anyway, I'm glad that they came up with the Ready, Set, Go protocols, because then, you should always be in the ready status. And that's what September is saying. It's National Preparedness Month. Make sure you're ready to go in the event of any natural disaster or mass casualty event, or anything that you need to go quickly from your home.
And it's all the way back to the Monument Fire. That taught us so much. I mean, we were pretty relaxed prior to the Monument Fire, but we've all learned. We've all learned from there. And the Ready, Set, Go is an example of the Monument Fire, because when we come in and say it's time to evacuate, or we're giving you notice, or prepared to be evacuated, that it's not a long-term program, especially in the rural parts of our county where livestock and animals are prevalent. Have those plans in place. Have those, and we do too. Now, we have a ranch advisory group that will come in and help us in those kind of situations. Something we didn't have during the Monument Fire that we do have now. So we're so much better off when it comes to that, all the way into our communication with our CCOM and regional communication.
That's right, and it's really important. Again, this is not something, when we put it out, maybe there were some concerns on our Facebook page where people thought the governor actually did his annual stamping of it, saying, declaring it September as National Preparedness Month. That's been something that's been going on for years and years and years, and we're just trying to highlight it. And I think that more we get into the marketing of it, if you will, because we have to. It's critical. We need to make sure that people are aware that they don't get caught short in the event of an emergency. So it's not something that is related to COVID at all. However, it's always good to be prepared for any situation. And so the more you practice, the better you'll play. And that's the way we have to do it.
Well, you say it very well, because the unexpected has become the expected. It truly has. And with the uniqueness out there, so many different things. Look, we're in a health pandemic. Who would have thought that? First time in my life, and I think everybody in this room, that we weren't prepared for it. I'll just be the first to say it. We had certain precautions in place to protect our employees, but we weren't prepared to the point where, hey, this is a pandemic. What are we doing? We're out there scratching and going to business. Hey, you got any more masks? You got any more gloves? That tells me as the sheriff that my office wasn't prepared, and we got through it. We had enough. Everybody was dedicated enough to make sure we got through it for the right reasons, but it just taught us a lesson there.
And even being prepared, flooding in Whetstone over the weekend.
Yes.
A good example, because we had roads closed. Now, if you're in an area where you can't get in or out, you need to make sure that you are prepared, that you have some little something stored up. We say 72 hours worth of food, and make sure that you're able to sustain, at-home quarantine, if you will, not because of COVID, but because you can't get anywhere.
Well, yeah, once you're stranded, then our job is to get to you, if we can. And I remember a couple of years ago up in Turkey Creek where we had to bring food in for livestock and the people. Livestock is quality of life for our rural folks and the ranchers and farmers. So, again, we brought that in via our helicopters. And, again, it goes back to how you prepare helps us prepare. And it truly minimizes our risk, too.
And a good way to do that is to be informed about what's going on. So let's talk a little bit about the purpose of our social media.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I think, Carol, you oversee that, and I mean, you have the best handle and what you read and what you see, and sometimes it's disturbing because, and Carol and I spoke yesterday, our social media, our Facebook is about prevention. It's about education. It's about awareness. And that's really the three buzzwords to why we have social media. And it all groups into transparency. We want people to know what we're doing at the Sheriff's Department. Same reason we do this show with you, Grady, and you allow us to do it here at Cherry Creek, and thanks to SSVC for helping us with that. But it's not to talk negative. It's not to get out there and criticize people or get involved in politics or anything like that. It's truly to educate and bring awareness and let people know. You might not agree with what we're saying, and I understand that, respectful. And there's a way you can say, well, wish you guys would look at this way. We're not saying that. But when you start getting mean and hateful, then we have a problem. We truly have a problem because, we've talked on this show about we have to be kind. We have to provide hope back in our communities, and that's what brings us forward. And our biggest thing we do is help people, and that's just a form of outreach within the Sheriff's Office. And, Carol, I know you see a lot of the negative comments and the hateful comments that really serve no purpose but just to disrupt.
That's right. And, when we've started this many years ago, and we don't block people. We don't block, we may hide comments if they're inappropriate and whatnot, but we just don't block people. And I'll tell you, we've had to do it twice now in the entire time we've been doing that. And that's not saying that they're going to stay banned forever, but it's really important to understand if we're going to be trolled. We had somebody from Arkansas that continually kept posting on our Facebook. Every post we put, they would put something obnoxious about pedophiles and how the Sheriff's Office, employs pedophiles and how we are encouraging this type of activity and tracking that down. It was something completely and totally different. This person was actually taking photos of young girls from residents in Cochise County. So as the example, there was a person in Whetstone, and he has a 9-year-old daughter. He found out because he got notified by Facebook that this person in Arkansas, this man, had taken his daughter's photo off of his own Facebook, put it on the guy in Arkansas's Facebook, and just had some creepy, comments. But in looking at the Arkansas Facebook, he did that with a lot of kids. He would just scam photos off of different people's Facebook pages and use them on his and just be disgusting. So it made us kind of concerned. We contacted law enforcement in Arkansas so that they could check this guy out, and that's what precipitated him. Every time we posted something, he would have to say, whatever he had to say. That's not conducive to good educational information awareness, anything that goes out from our office. And it really is bad for people to read that kind of commentary that we just don't need to have. Well,
there's enough negative or those that I truly believe this, that do not promote good community. I mean, I'm not going to be part of that. And I'll argue all day about that, and the fact that we're here to promote, like I said, hope, positive, educational, prevention awareness. And those that try to detour that are the ones that, we're going to have an issue with. It truly is. Like I said, there's enough negative and factless opinions on social media, but we don't need to get down that road. This is a government-sponsored Facebook page that that we want to make sure is doing the right thing for our community, and it's all about that quality of life. It is. And so those that try to distract from that, don't be upset, but find another place to go.
And Carol, also, one of the things that is on our Facebook page is the charity ride that's coming up, and I understand that there's going to be a discount that's a limited time.
That's right. So everybody, if you're listening, this is the 8th annual charity ride, and it's through the Sheriff's Office. We have been working with the American Southwest Credit Union, and now this year we have Lolly, who is a new supporter. No.
Well, they're actually a partner with us. With the Southwest Credit Union, Lolly Automotive, thanks to Sean, and then Brian over the credit union, and then the Sheriff's Office. So these three organizations have come together to make this happen.
And this has really morphed into something that is so much bigger, and we use all of this money, 100% goes back into our communities for charities. So let's start with the way that this year is going to be different is it's all online registration. It's really important that everybody understands, because in the past they've they've been able to go into the credit union. We have the clipboards there. They can fill out the paperwork. Then they can get their shirts and whatever their other swag is. This time it's going to be completely online. So they have to make sure that they do that. And that's for the safety and security of everybody.
Yeah, and with COVID, everybody's adjusted. A lot of community events didn't go this year just because of COVID, which has been tough. I feel for a lot of our nonprofits. But this one, we're going to make it happen. It's in the first Saturday in November, but we've added our UTVs or off-road vehicles, you know, the Polaris and the Can-Ams. There's a Jeeps coming too from Davis Monthan, a bunch of some Jeep Club up there. But we're going to be using Lolly's parking lot right behind the credit union on Friday Boulevard. So it'll be two different venues that we're putting together. But it's all COVID safe, if that makes sense. Where we're following the guidelines, we're going to make sure that that's where the virtual registration comes through. And the less contact, the better off we are. But it's still, the event's going to go. And again, we got 3 organizations that we're going to help out this year. What are those, Carol?
I'm sorry, you caught me off guard. I don't have those right in front of me.
Okay, we have 3 organizations that we're going to announce here in the near future. But I know one is, and I know a couple of them. One is it helps the veterans group.
Right.
I know there's one that we always do for vets. One is Shop with a Cop for up north for our rural communities that
and
they
the
do.
other one is Real Wishes.
Yes, and Real Wish is the other one. And so, see, we got close. That was 2 out of 3.
Right.
I know the other veterans group, and I can't think of the top of my head, but see, you're really good at that usually. So we both got stung today with that question.
And so it's really important that people understand this is going to be new and exciting and fun, because you are going to have 3 different kinds of motorcycles. You're going to have the side-by-side. You're going to have the Jeeps. And so I think we're going to have a whole lot of people in on it. I think it's going to be smoother with the online registration. And if you do it by October 12th, you know, you can get 15% off. So it's really important that you keep that in mind. If you think that you want to do something November 7th, log on. October 12th, you can look at it on the Charity Ride Facebook page. You can access it through our Facebook page. We have links. So make sure you take a look. American Southwest Credit Union has links. And what they're doing different also is usually we just have T-shirts that go along with this. We have merchandise that you can actually order off of this online website. So you can have hats. They have 2 different color hats. They have T-shirts. So they have long sleeve T-shirts, short sleeve T-shirts. They have all kinds of products that you can get. They have a flag, a thin blue line flag. So you can go online, you can order that merchandise, and then you can use it while you're at the charity ride. When you register to be a participant in the ride, that's when you select, you know, what you want as far as your size of T-shirt. So you're going to get a T-shirt regardless with your registration. But if you want additional merchandise, that's the way to do it. And Kristen Gray over at the American Southwest Credit Union has been phenomenal on her marketing design. She came up with all of that.
It looks good this year.
It does. It looks really, really good. And so I want to make sure that everybody knows you just need to sign up. And that veterans group is VeloVets.
VeloVets, what a memory. Deputy Gray sent me a text when we were talking here. Deputy Gray and Deputy McNeely and Sergeant Lindahl and Carol Yu and the committees from Lolly and Christine Gray over at the credit union and Brian Bartol. I mean, it's amazing how they put this together. Every year they come together, and let me tell you that when you see the rewards, we gave money to Cochise College a couple of years ago for scholarships, and I'm still seeing the return thank yous on that, where these kids have got their degrees now. And when you can do things like that, you see that you actually can see the degree and you've changed somebody's life. That's what it's all about. So again, please, and 100% of this, there's no admin fees attached to this. 100% of this, thanks to Lolly's and the Southwest Credit Union, allows us, because they pay the operation cost for this, goes towards, so all our sponsors that help in there and all these registration fees and everything that we do helps us put that money to these nonprofits.
And you can hop off of our Facebook page to those web pages as well. Also on our Facebook page is the Cuddle Bear Book Drive. That sounds fun.
And so there's a group that comes together, and then they have a book, and then they have a bear. So what they do is they ask people to donate so that they can put these packages together, and it's for this year's for the Scott Carter Foundation. Take a look at that, because what they do is they provide these items to Canyon Vista Medical Center and to other organizations that come into contact with children who've been impacted by illness or injury or any type of
drama.
Yes, and you were talking about handle with care. So this is another good way that happens.
Well, you look at CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocacy. These are kids that are under kinship, some kind of foster care, or some kind of court oversight, and these Cuddle Bears help these kids too. And the CASA group here in town does an amazing job of helping kids, both here in Cochise County, Graham and Greeley. We've actually extended to Graham and Greeley County, those two rural counties to our east, to help them with their programs up there and help these kids. And county lines should not be the boundary for helping kids. So we extended our organization up there.
And one of the things that they did last year and they're anticipating doing this year is if this drive is so successful, like it was last year,
yes,
they give any additional items that they have, the books and the bears, to the sheriff's office or law enforcement, and then we're able to keep those in our vehicles in case they come into a situation where they find a child in need.
You know, and every year also, through the years, people have always done that. They bring in teddy bears and different things that we can give to kids, and that's truly a nice gesture, because when we're at domestic, and that seems to be very profound, when we get these domestics, you got a kid crying, you can hand them a teddy bear or hand them something. It's something for them to hold on to while we address this bad situation. So again, to me, I think our young people are very vulnerable. I mean, and I've always had a saying, this, some people won't like this, but is when you're born innocent until infected by an adult. And it sounds horrible to say it that way, but truly, they're all kids are born innocent until infected by an adult. So I just think that we, as leaders of communities, schools, that's why I got so much respect for our educators and others out there that help bring our young people into the adult world. I just commend them all.
And giving back to our community, we had Back the Blue at Tucson Speedway last week.
Yeah, that was a big event. And I was up there about a month and a half ago on another event, so our community outreach, Deputy Gray was up there. Just great turnout. I mean, the fans were, and I wasn't there last weekend, but the feedback I got from the promoters of doing this here, and there's a lot of Cochise County residents go up there every week in a race and support the NASCAR events up there, but they're awesome, the law enforcement. So thank you to all of them.
And then appreciation emails, keeping on that same line for our deputies. We've received several of them. Sometimes you hear things that are maybe not so good, but I'll tell you, we appreciate hearing about the good things that go on as well. And you've received several emails about our personnel.
Yeah, we do, and I'll just say it's 9-1. 9 compliments for one negative. And I'll tell you one that I got. I came in the office yesterday, and I had a message from an individual, and he starts off saying that he's from Seattle, Washington. He has family here in the northern part of the county, so he's been here just spend some time in Cochise County. And I didn't know how this was going to go, because he started saying, I'm from Seattle, Washington. I'm down here in your county. I currently don't like the President of the United States. I don't like this. I don't like the politics in the country. Just went on this whole tangent. I'm thinking, okay, where's this going to go? But then he said, I've had a lot of dealings with your deputies, where I walked up and talked to them. They come up and talk to me because I'm walking around. He likes to walk at night in communities, and he goes, I am so impressed with the sheriff's office. I am so impressed with how professional they are, how kind they are, and just the willingness to show, are you all right, and ask the question. He goes, I am so disappointed in Seattle, Washington, for what, and that's my hometown. So it was, when I first started, I'm thinking, okay, where are we going? And truly just the opposite. It was a very complimentary message, and I shared that with my deputies up north that work in this area, that thank you to them too. So again, 9 compliments to 1 negative. And then I had a message. I'm just going to share their side of it too. It's not all positive world, where an individual left us a negative on a traffic stop up in the northern part, where he was stopped and provided a ticket, but he made some serious allegations that just were, the deputy had him for over an hour, and just on, and said that he had a warrant out of another state, and just this was wrong, and just really bad. So obviously, when we get those, we look into those. I mean, we just don't, okay, yeah, the guy's just having a bad day. No, we look into those. And just the surface, because we can actually look when a deputy makes a traffic stop, when he checked out, how long he was there, when he checked back in service. We have body cameras, and the sergeant went back and looked at the body camera. And so on the surface, everything I've seen so far, it's absolutely incorrect on what this man was saying. And I told the lieutenant yesterday, get back with this individual, let him know we checked in it, because he may think, well, I know you guys will never check into it. you don't even know us. You're from another state. So that's part of the stuff that just drains your time in a negative way. But luckily, we get one of those complaints for every 9 positive complaints. So, but we look in all of them. Whether it's positive, we share it back with the troops. If it's negative, we share that back too, and we look into it. Because if you don't look into, even when there is a complaint, if you don't look into it, shame on us. And we do look into those.
That's right, and that's important. And Deputy Gray is phenomenal at texting, so I have to make a correction for the charity ride. They did reduce the registration fees this year, and the way that they were able to do that is to make sure that everybody had the option of getting what merchandise they want. So the registration does not include the shirt, so just need to make that change. That way you can pick your own shirt that you want, long sleeve, short sleeve, hat, whatever you want. If you don't want a shirt, you don't need a shirt. So thank you, Deputy Gray.
Well, we got a listener out there this morning. So
that's right.
At
Yay.
least one. His wife's probably number 2.
Yes.
So thank you to both the Gray families.
CCOM is going to go live with medical dispatch on September 29th. Tell us what that means for our community.
So we're going to have some people from CCOM here, some supervisors here in the next couple weeks. But it's really important that we understand Cochise County has historically had communications, like our dispatchers.
Right.
And so now they are in the CCOM, which is Regional Communication Center, which is the way to go. You have one-stop shopping, if you will. And we historically have tried to get emergency medical dispatching, and we haven't been able to do that for a variety of reasons, up to and including the liability that's included. So now CCOM's a unit, and they're coming into their own. They've just had their second anniversary, if you will, on July 18th, and they have great staff. They have a good director. They have a great director. Don't want him to think that.
He's our third listener. I'll get a text in a minute.
That's right.
I'm not just good, I'm great.
And so we want to make sure that everybody knows that it's going to be a little bit different. We have, being a rural county, had people call their local fire departments if they needed an ambulance or if they needed a fire truck. So if you can imagine, your house is on fire, and instead of dialing 3 numbers, you're dialing a 7-digit number because you're used to it. If somebody's at that station, they can get the call. If they're not going to get it. So really a scary situation all the way around. With CCOM there, we are encouraging everybody to dial 911 and understand that there's going to be more questions asked to make sure that we get the appropriate resources routed. And in the meantime, be able to have pre-arrival instructions, because I cannot tell you how many times I have seen calls, heard calls, been on calls where you cannot tell somebody how to save their child. You cannot tell them how to do CPR. You cannot tell them what to do if somebody's been shot and how to stop the bleeding or put any type of medical compress or any type of tourniquet on it to stop the bleeding. So all of those things come into play when you are on the phone. You cannot give pre-arrival instructions, and you know that ambulance is 20 or 30 minutes away. That is devastating. With this program, Pro Q&A is a professional company nationwide. CCOM was able to secure those services, and they have the training that's going on. It's been going on. It's significant in-depth training, and it's really important that everybody understands it's going to change the way we do business a little bit, but it's all to the benefit of our public.
Well, it is, and it's about saving lives. It truly is. When you have somebody choking and you have a dispatcher that's not trained to help save a life. This is really, we're training our dispatchers, our communicators, to be able to provide that medical direction to save a life as a first responder. And so, it's something that I've heard. Hey, we got to do a better job there in a rural county where the resources are sometimes 30 minutes away. And so, this regional communication center that we've been talking about for the last 5 years, we've been talking about since 2005, between the city leadership and the county leadership and the police chief from Service and the Sheriff Deaver back in the day, you, Carol, that ran our center for many years. All that has been a discussion, and to see a reality with it now, and then to see it start advancing internally so we can do a better job externally when we give these resources to those in need. My hats are off to everybody that's made that happen, from you, Carol, to the mayor of Service, Mayor Mueller, Chuck Pachuzik, the city manager, Ed Gilligan, Jim Vovlich, all our business managers, our board of supervisors, Adam Thrasher, Tom Molina, the former police chief, who's been working on our side as a commander on our side now with this. So everybody had a piece. And a big shout out to Howard Buffett, the Buffett Foundation, that came in and saw the value of doing a regional communication center and helping us fund that, from buying the building, remodeling the building, and spending millions of dollars to bring the infrastructure up so we have a system that works. And ironically enough, I was back once a year. I go back and see the Buffett Foundation and thank them for all they've done to Cochise County. And he established a regional communication center in his area too. So it's something that combines your resources into one, but it's all about the quality of life and how we can better serve the citizens when they call 911.
And Sheriff, before you go, what is your safety message of the week going into Labor Day weekend?
The biggest safety message I have is, and hopefully everybody saw my article. I did an article on our Facebook and did it in the paper, and thank you to Service to Herald for printing that in regards to the current situation 2020 has brought us and how we are addressing that there, and how impressed I am that this is an awesome and safe county. And thanks to the great leadership we have in law enforcement here, to include, most important, the community that supports us. We couldn't do it, without the community we have and the community we serve. We're truly growing together as one. So with that said, I would say this is everything we've talked about, from don't drink and drive to drive with patience, drive, slow down, take a breath, and be kind. All the things we talk about. Be careful in the mountains if you're out hiking. Be prepared, have water, don't start fires unless you control the fire. Obey the rules up there, because Labor Day weekend, people, with everything been going on, they want to get out. They want to find some normalcy here since we've been kind of locked down for the last 9 months. So just be careful out there, and overall be safe. That's my biggest message. And if not, we'll be there to help you. We truly will be there to help you. But I hope you have a great Labor Day, and thanks to everybody's support.
And that's Sheriff Mark Daniels. Thanks for coming and talking to us today.
Thanks, everyone.
Who do we got coming in next, Carol?
We have Sergeant Tim Wachtel from Sierra Vista Police Department.
It's First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
It's First Watch now.
Hosted by Public Information Officer Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
On 92.3 KWCD.
And it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative, giving you an inside look into your sheriff's office. I'm Grady Butler, and with me is Carol Kappas, Public Information Officer with the Sheriff's Office, and our next guest.
So welcome back, Cochise County. We have Sergeant Tim Wachtel from Sierra Vista Police Department.
Good morning, and good morning, Cochise County.
So we've got a DUI task force going into this weekend. Tell us, first of all, why do you advertise a DUI task force?
Basically, we advertise just for education. Our goal is not to go out there and arrest people. Our goal is to educate people. So, coming down here and, thanks for having me on the radio, but coming down here and talking to the public and trying to educate them on just prevention. This is a choice that these individuals make, and we're trying to prevent people from driving impaired. So if the only thing I can do is educate people and try to convince people to not drive impaired, I'll come down here every day and do it.
And there's multiple agencies involved in the TUI task force.
There is. So basically on Saturday, September 5th from 4 p.m. until midnight, due to the Labor Day weekend, the Southeastern Arizona DUI Task Force will be out and about in the Sierra Vista area. Sierra Vista Police Department will be involved. Tombstone Marshal's Office will be involved. Department of Public Safety Sierra Vista Office will be involved. Cochise County Sheriff's Office will be involved. And even Bisbee PD is coming to help out too. So there's going to be 5 agencies involved. So don't be surprised if you see some other agencies out and about. And if you see either a Tombstone or a Bisbee vehicle going down Fry Boulevard, don't be surprised, because again, the thing with the task force is it gives us a chance to get together and work as a group, and so we'll be out and about again Saturday, September 5th, 4 p.m. until midnight.
And most people know if they're going to be drinking and partying, so it's real easy to plan ahead. Give us some details on ways to plan ahead.
Well, obviously, just like we mentioned earlier, these are decisions people make. It's not like somebody shoves the alcohol down your throat and you don't know what to do. You are planning these events, whether it be a party, whether it's be whatever it might be. It's a little unique right now with the bars shut down, but we're still having the impaired drivers. We're still arresting them, unfortunately. But be smart about it. You know where you're going. Either a designated driver, which is the best. If you take a designated driver with you, there is no ands, ifs, or buts. That person's with you. But the taxi service, the Uber, the Lyft, you name it these days. Other ways to get home, they're out there. So again, plan ahead, and don't give us the opportunity to give you a ride, because that's the last thing we want to do. But if we have to, we will.
You can be your own Uber. Law enforcement can be law enforcement can be your Uber if you don't pay attention. And, Douglas Police Department had a DUI at about 7 o'clock the other morning, and Tombstone had one at 10 in the morning. So if you know that that's going to be happening, you're going to, go out there and party that hard, or even hard enough to have one drink. Just make sure you have a designated driver.
And that's correct. And, back in the days, it's always we wait until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. But we're getting impaired drivers all throughout the day these days. So, unfortunately, they're out there. And so we'll be out there. And, again, on that note, I would also like to thank Papa John's Pizza. They're actually going to donate some dinner for us. For the task force. So
Nice.
I'd like to give a big kudos to them, too, for helping out. But, again, this is a preventable decision, and, don't plan ahead. Simple as that. Plan ahead.
Well, we're glad you guys are going to be out there, and we thank you for the job that you do. And the DUI task force is going to be out this weekend, so don't drink and drive.
Thank you very much, Grady.
And bad. That's Tim Wachtel from the Sierra Vista Police Department. All right, and we're going to shuffle some guests here for a bit, so we're letting them come in. But while we're shuffling, let's talk about the ways Uber drivers, taxis. That's just the way you want to do it. So make sure you plan ahead if you're going to be drinking this week, because you don't want to find the Sierra Vista Police Department and all the other people out there for the DUI task force as they start to make the rounds. You don't want to be in their spotlight. That's for sure.
That's right. And, if you do see, and he mentioned seeing other agencies, if you see a Bisbee Police Department vehicle or Tombstone Marshal, and you're probably going to think, oh, I'm good, I don't have to worry about that because this is Sierra Vista. Don't think that way.
Nope.
Because officers are certified through the state of Arizona, so you can get caught up in that. And if you drink and drive, you should get caught up in that, because seriously, that's not just for you, it's for everybody else's protection.
Exactly, yeah. Well, we have shuffled our guests now, so we've got some people from the Salvation Army. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for us?
I am Lieutenant Heather Bays.
And this is Lieutenant Ty Bays.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming in here and talking with us today. So let's talk about you guys have got some programs that we're going to talk about, like the Kids Culinary Program. Let's start with that one.
Okay, great. Yeah. So the Kids Culinary Program, we started it before COVID hit, and we had about 90 kids. We had about 90 kids that were into the program, and on the west side, there's not many programs for the kids, and so it was a great program. We had help with the Legacy Foundation, and it was up and running very well. And so we are relaunching that now, but of course, it's going to be look a lot different. We are going to assist with some of the kids that were in the program with either a tablet or a Chromebook if they don't already have one. Also, we'll be delivering supplies to them to make the dinner for that night at home. So instead of them coming into our church building, they're going to be doing it from home. But we're going to, prepare them and completely, bring the supplies that they're going to need. And so, yeah, we're really excited about how the new program's going to go.
It's fun how everybody's kind of making innovations around all of this and kind of figuring out other ways to do stuff. So congratulations on that. Well, let's talk about some of the, you guys are doing food distributions in remote areas now, like Palominas, I understand.
We are.
Yeah. So we end up from our regular food distributions, which is the first and second Tuesday of every month, as well as the third Friday of every month. We have food box distributions, both at the core and then in Huachuca City. So a lot of times we still have, in Hereford, yes, sorry. And so a lot of times we have some extra food and a lot of donations that come in. And so we're actually traveling out to further outskirts in Palominos, down dirt roads, where the need is great. A lot of times with our normal food distributions, they can't get in to where it's located, or maybe they have a family member that's working and they have the car, and so it's been very well received. We've been serving well over 50 families. Like a couple nights ago, we served over 54 families, I think. So it was great. It was awesome. And now we're reaching out to communities inside Sierra Vista, to like seniors, where they can't get out to get a food box too. So, yeah, it's awesome.
And you guys are continuing to do lunch?
Yeah, every day we still serve lunch. Monday through Friday, 11:30 to 12:30, right there at the core in the community center. where people can come up and get a warm meal. We've got some community partners and other volunteers from other churches that come in and just help support us in that way.
And that's to go lunches, right? Is that correct?
To go lunches.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And we also we get commodities from Fry's, from Food City, from Safeway, and so some days we're also able to supplement their meals for dinner and for the rest of the week with more vegetables and fruit and some pastries. Sometimes there's rotisserie chicken and deli food and all kinds of extra stuff that that we get in, but we never know what it's going to be or how much it's going to be, that comes in. And a lot of those also help us with our community meal on times where we're cooking the community meal, because we do have our A team that does a meal besides the other churches and organizations that come in.
Let's talk a little bit about your COVID rental assistance.
Okay, great. So we have received some funds where we're able to assist some of the families that have been either lost their jobs, been furloughed, or have had to leave because they had to resign because of their kids were all home, or whatever need it is. But we do need to see proof that you needed some assistance. But it's not just rental assistance, also utility assistance.
Awesome. So that's a great program you have.
Yeah.
And you also have women's ministries and Bible studies. Let's talk about those.
Okay, great. So Wednesdays we have women's ministries at 10 a.m. That's where a bunch of women, we get together and we have it's either some kind of devotional. So, there's normally a theme for that day. We just had our quarterly birthday parties and had a bingo party this last Wednesday and did a small devotional. We used to have lunch. We still have to-go lunch because we end at the same time as the community meal starts. So the ladies will either have lunch with us in the dining room because we've all already been together, or they'll take their lunch and take it home.
And a backpack giveaway. That sounds fun.
Okay. Oh, I didn't mention so the Bible study is at 11 is on Thursday at 1 p.m. And if you'd like to come before the Bible study, you can come and have the community meal with us and then go into the Bible study right after you have your lunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now let's talk about the backpacks then.
Okay.
Okay. Well, the backpacks, we did that on the last month on the second Tuesday. We distributed over 150 backpacks with school supplies. Prior to that, for about a month and a half, we were doing a drive with Fry's. Fry's. I keep getting confused. I know it's Kroger. In Las Vegas, where we came from, it was Smith's, and here it's Fry's. And so we did a drive with them, and then we had a 3-day drive at Walmart. Both of them really didn't do so good. This COVID era has made a lot of things really tough, but we were able to get some donors to supply much of the supplies to put into backpacks. And so, we did that distribution, and we still have a few backpacks that we can give away to the students throughout the year because the need is still there. I mean, even if they're at home, they're still going to need markers and supplies and flash drives and stuff like that. And so, and September 14th, we hear they're able to go back to school, so they'll be doing both.
Yeah, they're working on that.
Yeah,
so that's the hope. And we also want to do a shout out to Kiwanis Club because they are donating the flash drives.
Yeah.
So that's a great partnership that we have with them. And we can't do it without the help of the community.
Yeah,
you guys
Toyota
obviously
Sierra
have
Vista had a big donation for that too.
You guys have a lot going on that we just went over. That's a lot of stuff. So how can people help you? Give us ways to reach you guys.
So if you'd like to help in volunteering, we don't really need as much help with the community meal because you can't have as many people in the building. But we do have our distributions, as Lieutenant Ty said, on the first and the second Tuesday of the month. Definitely the first Tuesday, we need help, and that you can come to the Sierra Vista site for the Salvation Army at 180 Wilcox, or help in Hereford. It's right off the 92 at the Baptist Church. And so, First Baptist?
Yeah, First Baptist.
Right there on the 92, and we definitely need help because we're split in 2 different locations. But the second Tuesday of the month, we need assistance as well, and of course the third Friday for Huachuca City, we could use volunteers to help out with that. But we do have Christmas coming up, and with COVID, everything is so weird and so uncertain, and so we will need help. We're not sure how bell ringing's certainly going to look right now, but we will need assistance with bell ringers and our angel trees to help the kids with toys and for clothes for Christmas, and whatever donations that you can help with, we would love to receive and help out the community.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming in and talking to us today. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
It's First Watch on KWCD Country, and it's brought to you by Sulphur Springs Valley Electric Cooperative.
You've been listening to First Watch with the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.
Hosted by Cochise County Public Information Officers Carol Kappas and Grady Butler.
Join us again next Friday morning, 7 to 8 a.m.
First Watch.
What you need to know from the Cochise County Sheriff's Office.